Greetings. My name is David Tanner, and I teach mathematics at Kellogg Community College in Battle Creek, Michigan. I want to share with you some assessment strategies that I use to improve student learning in my Calculus 2 course. Without a doubt, assessments are critical in helping students master the learning outcomes of a course. In the Ematic Impact document, there are recommendations that serve as a guideline for me when I develop assessments and when I use them in my courses. The recommendations are assessment should be an ongoing process of collecting pertinent evidence that informs instructors about students' level of mathematics proficiency. Assessments should be authentic, that is, they should accurately evaluate students' abilities in real world contexts. Assessments should focus on evaluating students' higher order thinking skills, collaborative work, and communication skills. Subsequently, a variety of assessment techniques should be utilized: formative assessment, summative assessment, and again, these assessments should be authentic. So, how do I use assessments to improve student learning in my online Calculus 2 course? A bit of a background: the course is over 10 weeks, it's a 5 credit course, continuation of Calculus 1. There are a number of learning outcomes, but put together, the overall learning outcome is for students to demonstrate understanding of the following calculus topics via analysis, application, synthesis, and evaluation. And the topics of interest are integration and techniques for computing integrals, various applications of integration such as area, volume, work, moments, and center of mass, series and sequences, parametric equations, and polar coordinates. With a recommendation to use a variety of assessment techniques, here are the assessment types in my course. There's 2 tests and a cumulative final exam. Collectively, these are summative. I have a couple of assignments on review and practice in preparation for tests and exam. I have a project in which students will pick one of 2 questions. These questions are real-world applications of Calculus 2 topics. I have an assignment on academic integrity. The expectation is that students will read the college's policy on academic integrity, and then they will send me a note acknowledging that they have read it, they understand it, and they agree to comply. One of the things I tell students is that whether you agree or not, the school expects you to comply with the policy. I have weekly class discussions. I like to call these engagement. I also have online homework through Pearson My Math Lab. And then we also have written homework assignments. This sort of comes in 3 parts. So students that are assigned a problem, they work on the problem, they submit their solutions to a forum. I provide feedback, their colleagues provide feedback, and then students will take this feedback into consideration, revise their work, and then submit a finer, better product. So, as examples, I want to show how I use my online homework and written homework assignments to improve student learning in my course. Online homework is every week, and the goal here is to measure or assess the week's learning outcomes. The homework comes in 2 parts: part A, part B. Both parts usually cover 1 to 2 chapters, and students have unlimited attempts. As a means of accountability, students are expected to score at least 60% on each online homework assignment prior to a given test. So, as I mentioned earlier on, there are 2 tests in the course: Test A, Test B. So, using Test A as an example, students are expected to score 60% on each online homework assignment prior to Test A. There are many benefits of online homework. Here are 3 that I find very helpful. Automatic grading enhanced the availability of immediate feedback. There are learning aids and support systems embedded in these Pearson platforms. And so if the student is working on a homework assignment and is stumped or stuck and needs help, they can easily tap into these resources. And last, students have the opportunity to score 100% on a given homework assignment. Why? Because they have unlimited attempts. There's availability of immediate feedback that they can use, that they can make use of to improve their score. From my periodic grade analyses, as well as constantly monitoring the course and students' progress, it is very evident to me that students are taking advantage of the unlimited attempt opportunity to get a better score at a weekly online homework assignments. As a matter of fact, weekly scores range from 70% to 100%, with an overwhelming majority scoring usually 85% and above. So, from the context of formative assessments, the availability of learning aids, immediate feedback, unlimited attempts, these are instrumental in helping students maximize their learning and subsequently maximize the achievement. As a matter of fact, these provide some sort of a best possible opportunity for students to master the week's learning outcomes. While online homework is instrumental in building mathematics proficiency, I am not satisfied with that alone. So I include writing assignments in my courses. Over the years, I've found that writing in mathematics gives me a window into my students' mathematical reasoning and short their thought processes. Writing gives me an opportunity to see and understand potential roadblocks in students' thinking, and subsequently, I'm able to find ways to assist. This I will not normally be able to see with just online homework. For students, writing good mathematical explanations improves knowledge and understanding of mathematical ideas. Writing supports mathematical reasoning, helps in developing problem solving skills, as well as communication skills, as it requires them to reflect on their work, to organize the ideas and thoughts more logically, as well as structure the assertions in a more coherent way. I don't expect students in my courses to know how to write mathematics well, so generally I take them through weeks of learning the process. In my Calculus 2 course right now, I'm taking them through an 8-week process of developing mathematical writing skills. The first week of class, we spent some time reading an article on mathematical writing by Dr. Francis Su. Then we had a discussion on the article to note some of the essential ingredients in mathematical writing. I shared some samples of work with students. We critiqued the work, note which ones involve good writing and which ones involve bad writing. Then students are assigned written homework assignments over a 2-week period. In the first week, students provide their written solutions to the problems in a forum. Then during the second week, their colleagues and I provide feedback. Students take this feedback or these feedback into consideration, revise their work, and then resubmit. Students and I use an assessment rubric for providing feedback, and I also use another rubric for grading the final assignment. Here's what this looks like in my course. At Kellogg Community College, we use Moodle as our learning management system. Here is what my online Calculus 2 course looks like. I want to share with you our most recent written homework assignment, which was during weeks 5 and 6. So the assignment is in this form. There are a set of instructions or suggestions, one of which is reminding students of the need for proper writing, hence revisiting Dr. Francis Su's article if needed. The other is taking a look at the rubric for assessing the written homework. And here's a copy of the rubric. The written homework question can be found here. With this particular week, it was a problem from chapter 8.8 of our textbook, and this problem had to do with Gabriel's horn. I have the forum set up in such a way that students cannot see other colleagues' posts without first submitting their work. Doing so somewhat minimizes copying other students' work. Students can either type or handwrite these solutions, and here are a couple of samples of students' work and my feedback. Here's the work of one student. This particular student handwrote her solutions. And then here's my feedback, which my feedback is usually a private feedback to the student. Here's another student that typed his solutions. Then during week 6, students provided their feedback to their colleagues. So that takes place in this forum here. Again, there are some suggestions to students to, access the rubric for feedback on written homework, as well as use a peer evaluation or evaluation form as guideline in the process of providing feedback to their students. So here is one feedback that a student provided to another colleague. I thought this feedback was very helpful. Here's another feedback. Once students have received feedback from their peers and me, my expectation is that they would take this feedback into consideration, revise their work, and then resubmit before the end of the week. Now, the peer review process is beneficial in a number of ways. More feedback can be generated by students compared to just me, the instructor. The feedback process encourages students to critically reflect on each other's work, and with the rubric and the peer evaluation, they are able to develop some skills on how to objectively critique and evaluate one's work. And in general, students learn more from just seeing others' work. Now, this process of developing mathematical writing skills does not only happen with written homework assignments. Students continue to get extra practice at mathematical writing through our weekly discussion or engagement. So this is what a typical week's engagement or discussion looks like in my course. I have students in groups and I give them a set of problems or a set of questions that target the week's learning objectives. And then I give students or groups the opportunity to critique and provide feedback to other groups. Through it all, my focus is on the recommendations from EMATIC. That is, assessment should be an ongoing process of collecting pertinent evidence that informs instructors about students' level of mathematics proficiency. Assessments should be authentic. They should focus on evaluating students' higher order thinking skills, collaborative work, and communication skills. My hope is that my approach to using assessments to improve student learning will be helpful to you. I would love to hear from you if you have any suggestions or recommendations for me to improve as well. Thank you.